Welcome back again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. If you could hit the subscribe button if you're new, that would be fantastic. Trying to build the channel up. Don't cost you anything, so please, 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 pretty please, hit the subscribe button. Share the video, like the video. All support is always appreciated. Okay. Right. Now, Michael Hunter. Let's talk about him, shall we? When he moved up from cruiserweight, having given Usyk, a decent argument at cruiserweight, he moved up to heavyweight and he scored a win over Martin Bakole. Bakole at the time was undefeated. Hunter was brought in to lose. Hunter stopped Bakole in 10, I think it was. And suddenly he was the, the joker of the pack, the hidden gem. And a lot of people, including a lot of quite reputable boxing YouTubers, were saying, Michael Hunter is going to spring lots of upsets. He's the guy who could be the surprise package. He could pick up a title or two. He could upset one of the big top 3 or 4 heavyweights. And I never saw that. I got to be honest with you. I never felt that was... I never saw any evidence for that. Because even when he fought way past his best Povetkin, and he almost knocked Povetkin out early, he really went for the jugular and really went for the kill, and Povetkin survived the early onslaught, and it was a draw. Hunter got a draw. Hunter probably won the fight, but no one really cared. At the time, I think Hunter was with Matchroom when they were still with Sky, and afterwards Matchroom dropped him. So he then has a proposed fight with Hrgovic and pulls out of it in favour of picking up a lot of that Triller money. And he's continued with Triller because during the week, was it last night? Today is Friday. I think it was on a Thursday. He fought Jerry Forrest on Triller. So I presume he was well paid for this. But what should have been a routine outing, a 10-rounder, turned into an absolute nightmare for Michael Hunter. Against a guy who was last seen in against the big Chinese fella, Zhilei Zhang. That's probably not how you pronounce it, but Zhilei Zhang, the guy I mean, 6'8", Chinese guy. Can't really fight, but he's a big lump and he has a big right hand. And DAZN looking to cash him out, believe me. Zhilei Zhang cannot really fight that well. But Jerry Forrest fought him, was on the floor 3 times. Was it in the opening 3 rounds? And he came back to just about so close to stopping Zhilei Zhang, and he got an 8-round draw, despite being on the floor 3 times. And Zhilei Zhang, I think, went to hospital after that. So Forrest made a sort of little, maybe not a splash, but certainly a considerable ripple in the heavyweight pool when he stretched Zhilei Zhang to the absolute distance. So he got himself a fight against Michael Hunter. And again, it was supposed to be a routine fight for Hunter. Jerry Forrest got a draw with Zhilei Zhang. Who the hell's Zhilei Zhang? I'm Michael Hunter. I'm the guy that's supposed to be tearing up trees in the heavyweight division. It turned into a nightmare. Because from the opening bell, Hunter didn't seem to like Jerry Forrest's southpaw stance. He was looking to land Hunter was looking to land individual big punches, right crosses, overhand rights. He was matched jab for jab, interestingly. But he didn't like that southpaw stance. That's the way it looked to me. Nevertheless, he won the first 3 rounds. And about 2 minutes into the 4th round, for the first time, Forrest started to maybe get a bit brave, maybe get a bit of self-belief, because he was stepping to Hunter more. He was being more proactive rather than reactive, and he was not that fussed at what was coming at him. And in the 5th round, about 2 minutes in, he actually shook Hunter for the first time quite badly, and Hunter grabbed and held. And from the second half of the fight, round 6 to 10, it was pretty much all Jerry Forrest. No, maybe that's an exaggeration. Hunter had his moments, landed good individual punches, but Forrest was coming on strong. And as the rounds went by, he was really stamping his authority on the fight and landing the more hurtful punches. Now, Hunter is not Forrest is not a big heavyweight by any means. He's got a bit of fat around the middle, looks a bit portly. I wouldn't say it was flabby, but he could. You imagine he could boil himself down to cruiserweight, and probably in terms of natural weight, if he was really fit, he'd be around the 210 mark, probably, maybe 215. So in terms of stature, him and Hunter were not that. There wasn't that much difference. But from rounds 5 onwards, as I say, Forrest was coming on strong, and Hunter had the look of someone who thought, I'm in a fight here. It's a real fight. Jesus, what's happening? This wasn't in the script. This wasn't meant to happen. And he was actually showing out. And the whole thing was becoming a slugfest. I'm almost tempted to use the word desperate with regards to Hunter, because Forrest is less talented in boxing terms than Hunter. But Hunter, from the word go, wasn't really using his skills. He was looking to land big punches. And I don't know what gave him the impression that he's some sort of banger at heavyweight. He wasn't really a banger at cruiser. Interestingly, between the 8th and the 9th round, the camera, those good old Triller cameras, went to both corners. And Forrest looked perfectly fine, listened to his corner. Corner were very calm. Didn't appear anxious in any way. You know, he expected a long fight. And appeared to be, if his facial expression and his demeanour, his body language was anything to go by, he appeared to be confident. I've got another couple of rounds to go, no problem. Switch over to Hunter's corner. Hunter looked absolutely knackered and had 2 welts, sort of knots, and one under each eye, huffing and puffing. Bones Adams, who's his corner man, was whispering in his ear. No, you know, that's always a bad sign when the corner man gets real close, intimate, whispering in your ear, trying to beef you up, trying to pep you on. Come on, you need these rounds, you need these rounds. Everything about that corner suggested we're on the verge of losing this. And the whole thing became a sort of, for the last few rounds, was a sort of ragged, semi-slugfest, more of a maul, really. No, not a slugfest, that's the wrong phrase. A maul, we'll call it a maul. And Forrest was getting the better of it, and Hunter was having to really work hard just to stay in there. Forrest doesn't have any kind of one-punch power. Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness also that this wasn't a 12-rounder, because if it was, I think Forrest would have won it. In actual fact, it was a split draw. So Forrest, for the second fight in succession, gets a draw against a, you know, quote-unquote ranked fighter or a prospect, or, you know, against the guy who was meant to win. So Jerry Forrest, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, apparently. But I would put him above journeyman status, more into sort of gatekeeper status. That's what he's turned out to be. He's not without ability. He's a handful, especially if you don't get rid of him early. Hunter, where does he go from here? He looks to me like he took this fight very, very lightly. And again, I'm not someone who's ever been convinced by Hunter as a heavyweight. I know lots of people have. I've never seen it myself, and I kept thinking, am I missing something? Well, on the evidence of this fight, no, I wasn't missing anything. I don't think Hunter fights to his strengths. I don't think he's got the size to take on the really big guys. And to be honest with you, I don't think he's got the... probably hasn't quite got the ability to take on the really big guys and win. He can mess the top guys around. I'd steer him clear of the really big fellas. Obviously, your Furies. Fury would stand him on his head. Joshua would probably knock him clean out. Dillian White would probably knock him out. So, yeah, did you see the fight? I mean, a 10-round split draw. Bad result. A bad performance by Michael Hunter. His stock has fallen. Jerry Forrest will live to pick up another paycheck against some prospect. Who knows? He might even spring the absolute upset, not just a draw, not just a semi-upset, but an actual upset by winning on points against the next prospect or the next ranked guy, or, you know. What do you think of the fight? If you saw it, I saw it on YouTube. Didn't stay up to watch it. But Triller, I don't know, maybe they're learning as they go along. Maybe they're learning because of that, you know, following that, the outrage at that Holyfield farce, and the outrage was justified. That was an embarrassment, humiliating, disgraceful broadcast. But they seem to be a little bit more on track now. Maybe they've learned something. The presentation of the show, the bit that I saw, wasn't bad. Commentary was all right, nothing special. It's just like regular commentators, but with a bit of swearing thrown in. But anyway, leave your comments. What do you think of Michael Hunter? Is he going anywhere? I haven't seen anything to convince me that he is. Yeah, let me know your feelings. Let me know your opinions. Leave them in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in. And if you could subscribe, like I say, I'd appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.